And Servant King, Spiritual Saturday. We gonna knock this out. It'll be a long video. I think it might be maybe like 20, probably 30 minutes. Like we'll chop it up as we go. Just so it could be a little longer. And then once I get up, we'll do an HHN special report. Or who knows? We could probably mix. We could probably mix a little small, quick HHN with the Spiritual Saturday. We'll see how the game go. But I hope everybody having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, cool night. Detroit After Dark was lit. Was good. You already know. But we just sparked up this blunt, and we're gonna talk about today. I'll talk about spirituality and thermodynamics. When we say energy cannot be created nor destroyed, just transferred. That is the law of thermodynamics. Okay? And we need thermodynamics for everything, mostly. But shouts out to everybody. Hope everybody is having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, and cool night. It is 3:10 in Detroit. 3:10 a.m. Past the witching hour. Some people say it's 12 o'clock the witching hour. Some people say 3. I say between the hours of 12 and 3. So let's talk about energy and synergy. This day will live in infamy. But shouts out to everybody. Hope everybody having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, and cool night. I wish my second phone was working. I don't know if my YouTube gonna be acting up. I don't know if it's gonna be buffing on y'all in, And I wish I could put some shit in the chat. And plus I could be able to talk to people behind the scenes on the other phone. So like it's kind of fucked up that I can't do that. But we gonna play a small little snippet or something real quick. Revolution never ride for life. 5 times the homicide. I can't keep it too long. All you haters ain't shit. Proud of storms. 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 Much love, Vata. I would have a lot of it, but my sister there trying to sleep, you know what I'm saying? So I got it at a cool little volume. As long as y'all can hear it. You know I have to play it, Vata. I worry about rhymes, so I gotta go around and tone it down. I think I'm losing my mind. Talk about the gold hand, say motherfucker 1,000 times. When I see you with 1,000 eyes, you get prophesized. That I'm organizing revolution, never rap for life. 5 times the homicide. Every time I've been a 50, when a motherfucker died. Y'all oh yeah. If I send a thank you back on the Gmail too, you know I have to say thank you, baby. I wasn't gonna play nothing till you got in here, baby. Because it's kind of like a short video. I think I want to mix a little HHN with it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mix some HHN. Much love to my lady Fonte. The UK, baby. 8:14 in the UK. Saturday. Yeah, me too, Vodka. Yo, I love that vibe too. It's awesome. Terminator Sith Wave vibe. All I see is the ladies in the club dancing. Shake it, baby. Shake it. Shouts out to In the Groove for that. Yeah. You know, I had to play it one time for you. But yeah, I got two videos. I might cover half of the news. I'm gonna cover half of it. I'm gonna do this thermodynamic talk and then like one thing about Trump, and then we're gonna get up out of here. It shouldn't be that long. The one about thermodynamics is gonna be 17 minutes, but I got a 3-minute quick video. So all right, so like that'll add up 20 minutes. And the quick Trump video that I got for Trump on a quick HHN will be 12 minutes. So altogether, that's 32 minutes. We got 32 minutes, and we're gonna bring everything up as we go. I know you're gonna want some breakfast in a minute. So we got 32 minutes, probably chop it up to like probably 40 or 50 minutes, however the game go. But I will still come back later. We got the whole weekend, baby. God, I love you. And shout out to everybody that's going to watch on the playback. We're about to talk about spirituality and thermodynamics with a splash of a quick HHN. You know what I'm saying? Talking about Trump. But oh, you got your coffee? You good? Okay, baby. I got my weed. I'm good too. Yeah, this first blunt that I got in my hand is about to end. I'm about to roll up another one while we listen. Now, while we listen on in, we need to know about thermodynamics before we talk about spirituality and thermodynamics. And I bet people wondering, how is Hurricane talking about thermodynamics? He's on revolutionary shit. Yes, this is the other side of the coin. You feel me? Where I talk about spirituality, esoteric, the Gnosticism, shamanism, the Buddhism, Hinduism. You know what I'm saying? Chaos theory, metaphysics, quantum mechanics, and thermodynamics, and more. Would you like to know more? But I'm glad Vanta is chilling back. She got her coffee. She got the bon appetit. You know what I'm saying? Looking all beautiful and petite. Ooh, wait. But before we get off into spirituality and thermodynamics, we need to know what thermodynamics is. So I'm gonna give you a quick 40 something second snippet and then a 3-minute clip, and then we go off into spirituality, thermodynamics, and then we get off into a quick HHN special report because the lovely Vanta is my lovely correspondent, my UK correspondent. But let's get off to this quick 40 seconds.
Cold, or why you can't build a never-ending energy machine? That's thermodynamics. The first law says you can't create or destroy energy, only move it around. That's why eating pizza gives you energy, but you can't just create energy out of thin air. The second law says the universe loves a mess. Energy spreads out over time, like how your room somehow gets messy without you even trying. The third law says at absolute zero, everything stops moving. But getting there? Impossible. It's like trying to make ice cream that never melts. From fridges to stars, these laws run the universe. And no, they don't care if you're running late.
Matter is conserve. You know. Now, that was the 40-second video. Now let's get over to the 3-minute video where we break down thermodynamics a lot more. Let me teach you the Big Bang Theory, Vanta, because we in holodeck 3 with it. Oh, yeah. It's just me and you. All right. Now that they're gone, I'm going to fork it over, Vanta. Are you giving me You made yourself clear, Vanta. I'm forking it over. You got a 3-minute clip, baby.
To today's video on thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is a branch of physics that deals with heat, work, and the forms of energy transfer between systems. Let's start with the basics. The laws of thermodynamics. The zeroth law establishes the concept of temperature. If two systems are each in thermal equilibrium with a third system, they are in thermal equilibrium with each other. The first law of thermodynamics, also known as the law of energy conservation, states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed.
And
it's often summarized as the change in internal energy of a system equals the heat added to the system minus the work done by the system. The second law of thermodynamics dives into the concept of entropy. It posits that in any energy transfer or transformation, the total entropy of a closed system will either increase or remain the same. It never decreases. This explains why certain processes are irreversible and tells us why heat flows from hot objects to cold ones, but not the other way around. The third law of thermodynamics states that as a system approaches absolute zero, the entropy of that system approaches a constant minimum. In simpler terms, it's impossible to reach absolute zero in a finite number of steps. This principle helps us understand the behavior of materials at extremely low temperatures. Key concepts in thermodynamics include internal energy, enthalpy, and Gibbs free energy, among others. Internal energy is the total energy contained within a system. Enthalpy is the measure of a system's heat content. Gibbs free energy determines the spontaneity of a process at constant temperature and pressure. Thermodynamics also explores different kinds of thermodynamic processes. Isothermal, where the temperature remains constant. Adiabatic, where no heat is exchanged with the environment. Isobaric, which involves constant pressure. And isochoric, where volume remains unchanged. The applications are vast, influencing fields from engineering and chemistry to environmental science and even economics. Heat engines, refrigerators, and even biological processes like muscle contraction and metabolic cycles all rely on principles of thermodynamics. And there you have it, a concise yet comprehensive look into the world of thermodynamics. While the subject is rich and complex, understanding these foundational principles will enable you to have an informed conversation with experts in the field. Like and subscribe for more videos.
Yep. Now that we broke down what thermodynamics is, let's talk about spirituality and thermodynamics together. You know, I'm glad you're here, Vanta, because like this topic go over people's heads, you know what I'm saying? And the revolutionary shit, they just think a motherfucker crazy. But yep, you already know. But yep, after these next two lives, I'm gonna give me some rest. I gotta give me some rest. And when I wake up, like I'm gonna go live again. I'm gonna just say fuck it. I understand, like that they try to fuck with the like with the lives that I do, and I try to, like adapt to the time frame of it being early and it being at night and late at night and shit. But like they try to get me like before this live started, So I'm like, I'm just gonna say fuck it and just go with the flow. If I feel like going live and I know you home, I'm gonna just hit you up and like, baby, I'm about to go live. I'm gonna just go with the flow with it instead of just trying to dance around and adapt. Like I already adapted and I realized it really don't matter because they still fucked with my shit early in the morning and they fucked with my shit right before I went live tonight. It's like they know that I'm about to do it. Yeah, gotta listen to the audiobook of The Last Question by Isaac Asimov. Oh, yes. I think I did a live on that, Vanta. I did a live on The Last Question. If you can, type in the search bar Hurricane JW Isaac Asimov, The Last Question, or Hurricane JW Isaac Asimov. I think I covered it. Go with the weekend flow, We were thinking about that song, baby. Yeah, I think I covered it. But I still need to listen to the audiobook though. It'll be a good thing to go back to and cover it again. But I think I covered it. And if I didn't cover it, I was probably talking about Isaac Asimov on another term. I probably was. You found it? That was the one I talked about. Holy shit, I covered it, baby. I covered it. I fucking covered it. Holy shit. Oh, I did the last answer. Okay, got you. I did do the last question. Bet it up. All right, I'm gonna listen to the audio book. I was gonna listen to it, like after the live to try to put me to sleep, but like, I don't want to go to sleep listening to the live, because like I wouldn't know like what the time frame that I fell asleep at. So like I need to be up listening to it and then listen to it for about a couple hours, probably turn it off, come back to it. I'm gonna do it on a daily basis, like depending on like how long the audio book is. Yeah. But I knew I covered something on Isaac Asimov, baby. It wasn't the last question. I covered the last answer. Okay, baby. Thank you. Thank you so much. But I'm like, you know what, Vonta, thank you so much for being on my wavelength and on my frequency, baby. Because like don't nobody motherfucker read these books. Don't nobody be up on the motherfucking shit we be up on. You know what I'm saying? Like we connect on a level that motherfucker. One, like it astounds me because you know like it's it just thank you, Vonta. Just you motherfucker just like lost for words. Like this is just beautiful, intellectual, connect on so many levels. I love it. You dropped the links to my community post. Thank you so much, Vonta. You are the truth. And if anybody lurking, at least hit the like button. At least hit the like button if you're lurking. Shit, it's 3:30 in Detroit. That means it's 12:30 in Cali, 3:30 in Georgia, 3:30 in Jersey, 8:30 in the UK, 9:30 in the Netherlands, 2:30 in Chicago. Shouts out to everybody, y'all respective time zones. Hope everybody having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, cool night. We about to get off into the spirituality and thermodynamics, and then the quick Trump HHN, and then we gonna get up out of here. And I gotta check out what Vonta sent me in that community post. But if I do watch it, like before I go to sleep, I'll make sure like if my eyes get heavy, I just stop the video. I'm like the moment my eyes get heavy, I just stop the video. Should just hope it's not too long. But like but either way it go, I'm gonna listen to it. All right, let's get off into it.
The ego is the system that runs your sense of self. It is made out of thought patterns, emotions, and behavior loops, and the stories that try to hold it all together. Left unchecked, it creates endless existential searching, chronic disconnection, and the persistent sense that something is wrong. The goal of my videos is clarity, to see your identity and its contradictions for what they are, named precisely, to finally understand what it is that we're all running away from. Hey, so today I want to talk with you about how all spiritual awakening is really just thermodynamics. The brain is a machine that consumes energy from its surroundings and then outputs it in either action or emotional processing.
Oh yeah, talking about spirituality and thermodynamics. I was about to show you just in time for the beginning of the video. And shouts out to you again for that cool video you did. You already know what it is. Like we just something to end the groove on the Detroit After Dark. He finally checked it out. I don't know if he left a comment on it yet, but he probably did. But yeah, in the groove just checked out. He said that shit was fire. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Great video again. Shouts out to Vonta sending in that spiritual Saturday love. Yeah, when we talk about spirituality and thermodynamics, then we're going to talk about a quick video with Trump. Then we're going to get up out of here so I can go to sleep. And then once I wake up, I'll probably start another live, like work around a UK schedule, you know what I'm saying? Because like Vonta might be out and about running errands, you know what I'm saying? So it might give me time to, we'll work on some music, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. But I can't wait to listen to the audio book of the last question. And I'm glad you found the last answer. I'm glad you found it, because I would have tried to dive deep into it and shit, without thinking, wait a minute, let me just type it in the search bar. I'm glad I remember to type it in the search bar. I was like, you know what? Vata, you the UK correspondent. Look for it for me, baby. Go into the Akashic Record archives of the hurricane. He said, why do people, like said, hi, why do people put that? I think YouTube is just crazy. YouTube be on that bullshit. I think it's just something quick, like to like keep people from typing longer sentences, but like they're gonna type longer sentences anyway. So like it's kind of redundant. Why YouTube is just retarded. And yet they want to watch us, surveil us, block, delete, demonetize us, and get rid of our channels for no fucking reason. But add features like the hype button and the said hi button. Right. Right. It's like, like it's a robot. They're getting you to talk for a robot. But yeah, we about to get to the spirituality and thermodynamics. Shouts out to Eyes Wide Shut. Great video again. And shouts out to everybody coming through.
The ego is the system that runs your sense of self. It is made out of thought patterns, emotions, and behavior loops, and the stories that try to hold it all together. Left unchecked, it creates endless existential searching, chronic disconnection, and the persistent sense that something is wrong. The goal of my videos is clarity, to see your identity and its contradictions for what they are, named precisely, to finally understand what it is that we're all running away from. Hey, so today I'm going to talk with you about how all spiritual awakening is really just thermodynamics. The brain is a processing machine that consumes energy from its surroundings and then outputs it in either
that's what's up, Eyes Wide Shut.
Emotional processing.
Salute.
Spiritual awakening is really nothing but raw observation of reality. I think after a certain while, I just got very tired.
Yep. Spirituality, he said, is just raw observation of reality. That's the realest shit ever. Yep. Thanks, Eyes Wide Shut. I have to pause it for that. Man, thanks for that. Thanks for that comment. You already know.
Of pretending that it is anything but about the observational universe. There's so much humility that is being played when you enter in these spiritual spaces. That's why I always like the more aggressive philosophical debate sphere of YouTube. But if you really boil all of the spirituality and psychological process down, all these mystical experiences, they boil down to raw thermodynamics. A mystical experience is the unfiltered observation of biology, physics, and the present moment experience, because you've actually integrated the own physical processes of how energy moves through your body. It is looking at the machinery of reality without the ego's commentary, because you're not stifled by the energy getting stuck somewhere in your own identity, which is rare for most people on this planet, is most stuck in their own belief systems and wants to be right all the time instead of just looking what is the case. Thermodynamics is a branch of physics that deals with heat, work, and temperature in their relation to energy, entropy, and the physical properties of matter and radiation. The behavior of these quantities is governed by the 4 laws of thermodynamics, which convey the description of how these physical energies move through objects. The brain is an energy processing engine, consumes energy from its surroundings. In thermodynamics, entropy is the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. Closed systems naturally drift towards high entropy, which means chaos, relaxation, or dissolution. It is the process of matter basically moving towards disintegration, like nothing ever stays the same. Whenever you have a cup of water in a glass of water, over time it will evaporate into space. This means
I know that video was awesome.
The structure of everything moves towards chaos over time, and it requires energy to not let it move towards chaos. The ego is an exhausting, low entropy state because it is constantly requiring energy to not dissolve into the chaos that is pure awareness. To maintain a low entropy state in the universe.
They said chaos is pure awareness. That's why I study the chaos theory too. Motherfucker better be lucky I'm not studying chaos magic. That's next.
dissolve and basically, merge everything.
But studying chaos theory is studying chaos magic, but it's just another form, I guess, alchemy, I guess. Like if I'm using it, what's the proper wording? I'm high. But yeah, chaos is what it is. You say you putting a wake up video together, working on it for 3 months now. Not every day, but hours and hours have gone into it. Be a good one, I promise. That's what's up. You working on one for 3 months? Sweet. Yep. You know, can't rush perfection. That's what they say. Can't rush perfection.
It's chaos. You constantly need to expend energy, which is just work, to keep the energy in the same system. This is why defending your identity in your own personal life is so exhausting. You are using so much energy in order for the ego to prop up your own status, projecting that you are very valuable to other people, projecting your own image that you have propped up by others, or you're trying to move towards a more successful life, then have this image of having to be more successful, and then this entire identity model requires energy in order to maintain. You're constantly burning metabolic fuel to maintain the artificial boundary between who you really are and the universe. The awakening is just the cessation of this specific metabolic work. You stop resisting the natural flow of entropy, which is resisting the ego's need to control and bound everything into itself, and then the boundary dissolves. So the nervous system relaxes into just a baseline state of environment. This process, as neat as it sounds in this mechanistic way, actually as a personal human individual, feels extremely spiritual. It doesn't just feel like this neat, small mechanical thing. No, it feels like bursting out, crying because suddenly you cannot contain anymore how much you've held back, how you're truly feeling about something. It is finally screaming at somebody who for years has treated you wrongly.
It's like you cannot hold the shit in. You will fucking snap. Like you said, you finally snap on the motherfucker that has been treating you wrong for years. You know what I'm saying? There was never no decrease in the thermodynamics. There's always an increase. There's always going to its highest level. Always going to reach its boiling point. So this is why it's best. If you know you're being wrong, call it out. And this is why I say this, just to avoid you laying down that night and saying to yourself, rather in your head or verbally while you're looking up at the ceiling, I should have said this. I should have did that. I should have said this. I should have did that. Creating 1,000 scenarios in your mind when you just get it out the way. Whether you gotta knock the nigga the fuck out for being disrespectful, and you know, like if you do the crime, you do the time, whatever. But you don't have to lay down with a fucking bad conscience. You can lay down in the cell or lay down in your bed with a smile on your face, knowing that you did the right thing. You know, basically don't bottle in the emotions, you know. And I learned that shit in high school when you got to deal with rejection. Don't bottle any emotions if you digging someone, you like let them know if they motherfucker tell you, like, thanks for the sentiment, but I'm with someone, or, just, like just be upfront. And then later on when you're grown, when they tell you this, don't bottle in all these emotions because you end up having a stress attack. So it's like, like when the motherfucking doctor pulled me to the side and told me this shit, man, it blew my motherfucking mind. Entropy change, yep. So like let's not bottle up our emotions, and let's, like I'm talking about, let's just be truly honest with ourselves first and be honest with others, because sometimes the truth do hurt, and some people are afraid of being judged, but just have no fear, because real shit, when you hang around people that got your back and people that can create a comfortable space for you to be yourself, you should be good, you know, and like that goes in all situations, especially relationships. It's like, you know what, like, let's sit down and talk about it. I know certain situations can be uncomfortable, but we can sit down and talk our way through it, because communication is the key. And most of the time, it's about insecurity and trust. If we trust each other, we can get through it. I have no insecurities. I know I'm number one in your life. You number one in my life. We good. We gonna make it through. So, like that's how I roll. You know. So, like it was like in high school, when I got over that fear. But yeah, don't be in the dark looking for the light. Be the light in the dark. Right. Or be in the darkness in the middle of corrupted light. Or be in a righteous light in the crazy darkness. You know how the yin and yang is. You already know. Because I love the darkness. I'm Cloak. Cloak and Dagger. But yeah. But you're right. And let's get back to it.
Letting go the system that try to maintain the energy all the time and just do what you actually wanted to do. The thing that traps the energy in your body is the idea of the shoulds that have been enforced. So if you have the idea that you should be more quiet and more respectful for other people, that you should not be too extravagant because it is annoying for others. If you shouldn't follow what you really desire because it isn't very convenient financially, whatever it is that has told you should do something instead of I want to do something, will trap energy in place. And behind the should is always a sense of shame. There's this idea that if you don't do what you should do, well, then basically you're going to get punished by those around you. So in some way, the ego kind of believes that it is lower energy by just maintaining its own state. And it is right. If you maintain the status quo and are where you're always at, then it is on the short term easier to manage, because this is the state that your machinery always was in. In a mechanical engine, whenever energy is transferred,
yeah. You already know about I live in the light till it's time to go dark. Then I'm pitch black. I love it, Vata.
Energy is always lost to heat, since it always has some friction, since no engine is 100% efficient. Suffering is the cognitive friction that is created when letting go of the containment of this energy. It happens when the brain's internal model of reality binds against actual reality and then lets go and lets the energy move through you. When you want to be present for anything, your nervous system essentially is revving up the engine. And if you're resisting the release, then it's like revving up the engine while you're also pressing on the brakes.
Yeah. So, if your heart desires, let it out. Even if the room goes against you. You could be in the room where, like everybody is protesting for some crazy bullshit. And your soul is screaming, say something. Don't fight that urge. Say something. Everybody gonna turn around and be like, you need to leave. And then you leave. But at least you got it off your chest so you can walk away with a smile on your face. Salute, Jordan. We're talking about the law of thermodynamics and spirituality. We just got to the part where, do what your heart's desire. in spite whatever the room says or what society says, do you. Because I say do it because it avoids having a whole day of thinking about something that you woulda, shoulda, and coulda did or said, and it just like eats at you all day. Or right before you go to bed, you go to sleep, you lay down looking up at the ceiling, and you like, damn, I should have did this in that situation. I should have said that in this situation. You know what I'm saying? All the woulda, shoulda, couldas in your mind, you motherfucking fucking yourself up. You know, like mentally blocking what your heart's desire. Like if your soul, your heart is screaming, say something, then say something. Or say do something, do something. You know, in spite of what society says, you know, because you're gonna fuck yourself up. And then whenever you get older and deal with relationships or jobs and shit, and you motherfucking boggling the emotions in, you'll end up having a stress attack. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, do what your heart's desire. Now, if you have to knock somebody out because they disrespected you, you know, do the crime, do the time, whatever. But at least you get to motherfucking still lay down with a clear conscience that you did what your heart's desire. The motherfucker disrespected me, I knocked his ass out. I tried to avoid the situation, but I couldn't avoid it, so I had to knock his ass out. It is what it is. You already know, Vanta. I think it might just be this video, and I might do the Trump video for the HHN. But she remember, like Vanta said, she got her coffee. She cool. So let me still got probably one more video after this. Talk about Trump real quick. All right, let's get to it.
The energy doesn't really translate into motion or authentic expression, but then gets dissipated into heat, which is, for humans, anxiety, frustration, anger, somatic tension.
Exactly. Anxiety, frustration, anger, tension. While you laying in that bed like, damn, I should have said this. Damn, I should have did that. You know what I'm saying? And then you say to yourself, oh my God, then when I see them again, I'm going to tell them about it stuff. You'll never see the motherfucker again ever. And you heat it for like days or weeks. Or in a relationship, something was said or something was done. And you thinking about it all day until you finally get to your partner and be like, look, you know, let's talk about this. Let's make this work. You know what I'm saying? You know, like misunderstanding, you know, the type of shit. Communication is key. But if you don't communicate with yourself and know thyself, it'll never be a good situation anywhere in life, anywhere else in the field. You know, yes, we got to deal with the battlefield of life, but the real battle is within. And you can be comfortable with yourself, being yourself, with no anxiety, anger, or stress at yourself for not doing what you desire, you know. And society holds us back by calling us crazy, calling us insane, calling us psychotic, because we don't flow with the paradigm or we don't conform, you know. So it is what it is. We accept it, but we are the new priesthood. We are the new saviors, because when shit go down, who do they come to in the movies when some shit hits the fan? They always come to the conspiracy theorist or the truther or the seeker or the motherfucker that already know what the fuck going on, and y'all call them crazy. Y'all call us crazy, now y'all need us. This is why I say y'all target practice, and if I do help you, you're going to be tilling the fucking earth. We're gonna have to till it anyway, because we got to make new crops and not have it dealing with Monsanto. So consider you helping the planet. Thanks for calling me crazy. Thanks for calling me crazy. But yeah, we're gonna make those motherfuckers that called us crazy work. They're gonna till the earth. They're gonna work. You know, like, because it's gonna have to be like that anyway. Like whatever we good at, we gotta motherfucking use it for the revolution. You good at farming, good at hunting, good at fishing, good at making a fire. You good at motherfucking technology and make some motherfucking tech for us to keep shit going. If a motherfucking black kid from Africa can make a car run on fucking plastic fuel, whatever the fuck he made, then we can make something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When it's time to build a new world, it's gonna be shit. We're gonna have to farm. We're gonna have to motherfucker drive some shit, motherfucker do some distribution. We have to clean the water, get the fluoride out of it. We're already gonna blow up all the chemtrail planes and all the chemtrail plane sites that you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be no more diseases. We're going back to nature, we're going back to natural remedies, you know. Shit, that's what we're gonna have to do. We're going back to nature because motherfuckers want us merging with technology, and merging with technology, we can't fucking do that. we cannot fucking do that. Everything is gonna lead to a bad outcome. Like if we merge with technology, then that means water is gonna be obsolete because now what are we using to fuel our body? Electrolytes, Brondo from motherfucker like Idiocracy, or we're gonna have to plug ourselves inside of our wall, inside of our 15-minute smart city. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, or we're gonna jack in to a fucking server like the movie Surrogates. And we're gonna have like an avatar walking around doing whatever the fuck they want while we in the bed, jacked into a fucking wall or a fucking computer server and shit. You know what I'm saying? Merging with technology that way, merging with technology by fucking, you know, like adding robot parts to your body or putting chips in your fucking body. Already been approved by the motherfucking FTC. Shout out Elon Musk. Smoke them. But anyway, let's get back to it.
All these negative feelings that are boiling up inside of us. So most people who run around anxious and depressed and overthinking basically have not found the way to release this energy and instead are pressing the brakes all the time.
Right, right. But if you don't want to confront the person or the situation you confront, there's other ways to release your energy. Music, art, literature, go for a run, exercise, meditate. You gotta release that energy because you don't want to hurt yourself. And the word that I was looking for was overthinking. Yes. You know, and like sometimes I go through situations, I overthink a lot. Sometimes I keep myself up days at a time, you know, and I'm glad I'm becoming better at not going through that anymore. You know, like learning to adapt to new situations, like new relationships, new jobs, and learning to not, like overthink, knowing not to make these mistakes, but letting go of the fear of saying something wrong or doing something wrong. But like, you remember, like knowing everything I do is from the heart, and my heart is in the right place. It should be like understandable, like when we sit down and have the conversation, or dealing with a job, and it's toxic. All you gotta do is just you either quit the job or you stay the fuck away from the people. Just do your job and go home. Because when it's lunchtime, you stay the fuck away from everybody. Go to a nice secluded area, chill, eat, go live, do whatever. I know Kung Fu, right? You already know, Walter.
Therefore, the energy still gets expressed somehow, which is through all of these negative emotions. This is where this feeling that life is suffering and that every day is a slog, and you have to force yourself to wake up every morning where this comes from, being dragged down by the way your machine functions. You're not letting yourself be who you actually want to be, and are expending a huge amount of energy to contain yourself just to suffer even more. Enlightenment is a state of near perfect thermodynamic efficiency. By accepting the present moment entirely, the friction drops to zero. All sensory input is processed without the heat loss of resistance.
Yes. Like for relationship, I accept Vanta the way she is, the beautiful, gorgeous goddess. Trust her with all my heart and body and spirit. No friction. Feels good. She's a free, loving, caring, supportive, wonderful spirit. Love her. No friction. Don't have to worry about nothing in the future. Don't have to worry about no worries because I know we can sit down and patch everything up. My job, sometimes it's a motherfucking hassle, but at the end of the day, I need it so I can stack up some bread to do what I need to do. I have a goal in mind. Bam. You feel me? It keeps everything in line, no friction. And if I do get upset in any situation, just sit down, breathe. If I gotta conversate with somebody, have the conversation, and plus, not only I apply this, I apply the art of war also, you know what I'm saying? Diplomacy and shit. You know what I'm saying? It say run 1,000 miles from a fight, but if you can't avoid a fight, don't give up an inch. You feel me? Don't give up an inch. If you can't avoid it, you go all the fuck out. You feel me? But it's best to avoid. And plus, the real true art of war is to not fight at all. Less friction. Even the phone agrees. Where you been, phone? It's been a minute. That lets you know we're talking about some real stuff today.
It's authenticity, being yourself, doing what your heart desires.
Yeah. Thank you for being yourself, Vanta, and doing what your heart desires. And I know YouTube is your only platform. It's your only place to chill, do what you love to do. Baby, do your thing. And I love you for it, for sure. 100% trust and love. Because I know in the end, happily ever after, Bonnie and Clyde. Unbreakable, unshakable.
Manipulated by your environment. This is
you already know. No friction unless it's naughty time. Well, what I like to say in spiritual terms, rubbing our root chakras together. Creating friction in the root chakra. Or let me get inside your root chakra so you feel it in your sacral chakra. And then you telling me that you feel it in your solar chakra. And then pull it out and put it in your throat chakra and blow your crown chakra to to the heavens. Detroit After Dark. And the party don't stop till 6 in the morning. I'm playing. I can get naughty with the meditation terms. You smash it through the chakra system, baby. All the chakras, baby. Hell yeah. Put it in your root. You feel it all the way to your crown chakra.
Frictionless movement. So the brain tries to minimize surprise. And a brain that has not wakened up to its own internal friction model has a rigid, stubborn view of the world. And the world, as a matter of fact, is very chaotic. So you're constantly generating surprise or predictive errors in the way reality actually pans out. But instead of integrating whatever surprises you into like a new model, you're basically resisting what is actually happening. You're not letting reality show its own truth, but instead believe that by, for example, procrastinating, you are able to avoid just the raw facts of what is in front of you. You are using methods in order to deny what is actually true and not expend the energy or the suffering or the friction to actually let this energy release. The brain has to frantically burn energy all the time to resolve the mismatch between the expectations that you have towards reality. You want one thing, like you want to be more successful, you want to live a more peaceful life, but are brushing up against the fact that it requires more work and there are stuff that you still haven't done. And you're constantly running in this predictive error. There's also this thing of craving or needing something to be the case. And whatever you need, like this desperate needing of something, is also part of this predictive error, right? Like you're craving something that is just not present. So your brain is basically spending energy for nothing, moving you to some goal that is unattainable. And most goals, as a matter of fact, the way people use them is to put themselves in a place where they can never actually attain the thing. Like if you have a goal to become much more healthy, then what does this mean, right? How are you going to expend the energy to be less healthy. If you're not specific and concrete, what's going to happen is that you're constantly just noticing again and again that you're not more healthy than you were before, or you're still eating junk food, or you're still not sleeping well. So the goal has actually no aim, and then
the goal has no aim because there's no action being taken. It's just a motherfucker saying, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, but you're not taking time out to stop eating unhealthy or taking time out to exercise. You know what I'm saying? You know, or be like, I'm working, or I'm going to the Philippines, or I'm going to such and such. If you're not stacking up the money to go do it, then you're just fucking talking. you know, I want the perfect relationship. You know what I'm saying? If you're not trying to build rapport or good chemistry, then you're just talking. You know what I'm saying? You got to put in the work. You got to talk every day. You got to chill every day. You know what I'm saying? You got to give each other space sometimes. You got to, you got to respect each other's feelings. You got to trust each other. You got to, you got to put in that work. And which goes back to another thing. Like I said, like you want a peaceful life. If you want peace, you must prepare for war. That means you got to prepare. That means you got to, stack your bread up, stack your storage up, and, train, meditate, and prepare for war. Because if you do get the peace, you got to learn how to defend your peace just in case someone try to come through and try to fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? Like in your relationship, you got to motherfucker be able to look out for motherfuckers trying to come in and fuck it up. You try to create lies, or motherfuckers just try to come in and try to take what don't belong to them. And they clearly know, shit, the fucking God of Storms. And if anybody try to mess with me, Vonta is the goddess of existence. And like she said, she would go pitch black on your ass. That scared me even saying it. Scares me. I like that. I like getting the chills. You turn to it. Like y'all heard about fucking Wanda Asimov? Well, Wanda Asimov don't got nothing on Vonta. The Scarlet Witch don't got nothing on Vonta. Okay? I had to destroy heaven to create another one and call it Nirvana. Okay? That's how great she is. All right? That's how phenomenal, astronomical she is. Much love to my goddess.
It's fueled in this constant self-judgment and frustration with how you're just not functioning well. So often when you have a mystical experience, you have a massive update to the brain's predictive engine. The model becomes basically fluid because you can then see with absolute clarity that there's nothing you can truly predict. Even 5 seconds from now is a mystery. And you see clearly how present
that's right, baby.
As a matter of fact.
Pew, pew.
So it's not about having some weird shift in consciousness that reveals to you the nature of reality that you could have never known before. It is noticing how the brain and how the mind and how reality, for that matter, actually functions. It is always present. All worries about the future or plans about the future, in a very real sense, are always imagination. And whatever doesn't align up with your desires is also imagination, because you cannot have anything but what you have right now.
Right. So it's like, it's just basically, like what he's saying in so many words, try not to exert so much energy in thinking about the future. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to live in the now, and I understand that, because like most people be focused on the future, doing the meditation, doing the visualization, affirmation to try to get that motherfucking reality going for them. But what they got to do is make sure their nervous system is properly aligned, like mind, body, and spirit. Speak your affirmation, do your manifestation, do your visualization, and then get it over with. See, like me, I had a schedule. I said I would meditate Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, reading, writing, and exploring. Friday exercise, Saturday was my free day of rest. You know, it's so it's so you don't put a burden on yourself and exert no excess energy. And like when it comes to relationships, once you know you have your future set with your loved one, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that the person you love sees the future with you, so both your futures can align together. If we talking about traveling, like if I'm talking about traveling, she talking about traveling, then bam, guess what? We're gonna be together traveling. She see that. If she's dreaming about me, I'm dreaming about her, bam. We about to make that dream come true. You feel me? And just know and trust your partner. So you don't exert that much energy. And I'm adapting, and the goal, like I said, is to become a better person every day, every second. I love this.
The moment you exist in is right now. So the system achieves thermodynamic equilibrium with its environment when it realizes that this is the only way things can be. It's, in a matter of fact, you can never be in the future. You can never predict the future in the way your identity wants to. So as long as you cannot find this contentment and relaxation here now, you will always run an engine that is wasting energy only to create more friction.
Yep. Yep. The goal is to just speak your affirmation, see your visualization, and keep it rolling. And make sure your nervous system right. Because if there's doubt, it ain't gonna work. So not saying ain't nothing gonna happen in the future, because you never know. Something always happens. Something always gets said wrong. Something always get done wrong. Something always get misunderstood. But if the two parties, the man and the woman, is together, and they fucking love each other, they understand communication, they understand, they both open-minded, and they both understand that, both got to live in our truth, speak the truth, everything gonna be all right, because honesty is the best policy.
Chemistry is a system will naturally try to find its lowest possible energy state, which is the most stable state. However, a system can get trapped in a sort of local minimum. It is a small dip in the energy landscape. It is more stable, but it is not the most stable.
Yeah.
So you
no faith we will make for ourselves. That's right, Walter.
And you're not experiencing that much friction, but you still have this inkling that there's something deeper out there, that there's something more authentic for you to be living in. Something that, feels more holistic and more true to yourself. Yeah. And the spiritual path that moves you at the end of the day towards self-actualization is basically moving towards the slopes of local minima to the global minimum, where you have actually the most efficient energy system, because you're not resisting at all who you are. You're 100% satisfied with who you are, and there's no need to change.
Yep, you are 100% satisfied with who you are, and there's no need to change it. And that's why I love you, Vonta. You are 100% you. Love you, trust you, because I know in the end it's gonna be me and you. And your Lafayette lounges are gonna be hotter. Our Detroit after darks are gonna be hotter. We gonna be traveling all over this motherfucker. Like I said, $400 off the beach. I forgot where we was at, but we gonna be off the beach somewhere. We gonna buy a crib and dip. We'll go buy a crib in 5 places. Like, yep. You already know. You know, Walter.
Anything, and this is where this idea of perfection comes from. Where this idea of joy comes from. It is just perfect energy expenditure of the human psyche. The default human state is neurotic and anxious because it is ego-driven. So the energy expenditure is super inefficient. It's stable enough to keep you alive, and it might actually be working so that you can, be successful or work on your business, but it's highly tense. And you would be way more efficient if you drop all the baggage that is keeping you tense and move towards something more joyful.
Right. Drop the baggage that's keeping you tense. Yep, that's right. Cool thing about your shit. No trauma, no baggage, not on drugs, not on alcohol. Vonta, you're perfect. And we love the same shit. You're perfect. Perfect. Like they say on Street Fighter. Perfect. Shoot. Yeah, this is this is the diamond. This is the the gold. This is also phenomenal, astronomical. I hit the what they call it lottery term jackpot. You know what I'm saying? No drugs, no alcohol, no trauma, no baggage. In tune with self, open-minded, love the same shit. Perfect. That's all I gotta say. That's perfect in my eyes. And they be like, no one's perfect. Fuck that. I always flip that shit around. We are perfect beings that do imperfect things. But I love doing imperfect things. And Holodeck 3 will be getting all to you. It's still Detroit After Dark. And the party don't stop till 6 in the morning. But yeah, but we're gonna try to get up out of here with this one. I think I might do the Trump shit later. Like, unless you don't got to do nothing. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Like you said, you had your coffee and you straight. So, yeah, bigger moves would be like, baby, it's all good. I told you, small boobs, medium boobs, big boobs, it don't matter. But you are perfect because you the perfect nice size. You petite, lovely. Like plus I love the anime. You know what I'm saying? So grab that plaid, baby, and grab those cat ears. You already know. You got the perfect height, and plus, they might need to infiltrate some buildings. You can fit through the motherfucking vents and shit. Plant some bombs in some vents for me and shit. Come on now, baby. Viva la revolution. Like the boob's gonna be in the way when she going through the vent. Like you got no problem. And you can look all sexy in a bodysuit, dipping through the laser beams and try to get, you know what I'm saying? Be better than Catherine Zeta-Jones. Vonta Black, she dipped beneath lasers. Oh. Dipping beneath lasers and shit. Like, oh shit. That's what I'm talking about. I love you, Vonta. But yeah, like I forgot you did say you straight. So you want me to still play the Trump video, or you want me to finish out the rest of this video and then we'll end it and I'll come back later? It's up to you. It's up to you. Because I think the Trump video was only 12 minutes. It's only 12 minutes. And I think we got 5 minutes left on this video.
To get out of the local minimum, you need to spike activation energy to push the system over the edge so it can roll down to the global minimum, the absolute lowest energy state or the highest stability state. This is why extreme suffering, deep meditation, or psychedelics often precede an awakening.
Suffering, meditation, and psychedelics can achieve your awakening. And yes, this is how Buddha achieved his. He had to go through suffering and realize life is suffering. One of the 4 noble truths of Buddha. Meditation. You get into a deep enough meditation. I've been there. I've seen the realms. I opened the door. I fought with entities. Talked with entities. Got joked on with entities and shit. But mind you, it's all in your mind. But, the They like to call people crazy, but shit, if y'all call me crazy for my spirituality, I'm gonna call y'all crazy for believing in Jesus. At least my experience is my personal experience. Because my experience actually saved my crib from a fire. And I'm going to keep throwing that up. My power is real. What they want to do is fine. Okay, cool. I'm going to do the Trump one after this. Bet it up. Because I forgot, like it's the weekend and you going all out, baby. Let's have some fun. And plus, it's like a date. You know what I'm saying? Do each other after dark. You know what I'm saying? You my lady. And like, like plus you the reason why I'm still here. Because I was about to get rid of YouTube. I was about to say, everybody, 24 hours, download all my shit, download all your favorite shit. I'm about to get rid of this shit. Glad I didn't. Thank you, Vanta.
An energy spike, which is like activation energy, that knocks down the nervous system comfort in the local minimum and moves you over the ridge, and then move towards the next
I'm surprised you ain't taking down during the Detroit after dark.
Enlightenment would just be the most efficient way of being in
I can't wait to take some with you, Vanta.
Have it as a goal, as something to attain, as like some final destination, doesn't really make sense, because it is just still creating friction within you if you have it as some idea to attain. Because then, how are you supposed to be authentically yourself if there's still always a goal that you're running towards? My ego architecture audits analyze your sense of identity also in the same way by, putting more energy in the system and revealing where the friction in, your energy processing is. And this most of the time happens by revealing to you where your limiting beliefs are, where you are blind to your own perception, where you want something to be the case that is not the case, and you're slightly resisting this. And by uncovering these like underlying structures of the self that are most of the time hidden to yourself, you can gain a deeper understanding of how you function, and through this deeper understanding of how you function, change your relationship to yourself. I love this framing because it helps to demystify all of this spiritual jargon of manifestation or awakening or enlightenment or becoming one with God or whatever. All of this stuff is mostly distraction. And it's not because all of this is categorically wrong, but it's not what is really happening on a human level. Like if we were to science out what spirituality is, then we would surely just end up at a mix of psychology and physics again. Because we are still a body that works through the systems that have evolved over millions of years. So nothing that you'll do will automatically disconnect you from your own body. And more so than your own body, it's really the relationship with the entire universe. It is very well known that energy cannot be destroyed, and that everything that exists, as far as we know, in the material world has relationship to physics and math. And to just dismiss this and just believe that you can kind of escape physical, material, scientific reality is pretty much silly. So you can use different lenses for the system, and this is a more mechanical lens, or like a scientific lens, you would say. The problem is just that we don't really have the tools and methods to analyze this in some mathematical way. But I am quite positive that through the invents of artificial intelligence and scientific advancements and just smart people coming together and sharing their experience openly, that we'll figure out that this is precisely how all of this stuff works. It will demystify it a lot for a lot of people. But this doesn't mean that for you, when you go through these processes, that it will just be this mechanical thing. It won't be. It will be extremely existentially confusing. It will be very high energy. It might give you psychological sensations, for the lack of a better word, because you don't know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with it, because it will always be something new. Like your body is modeling a new state of processing existence, and this will feel very existential each time. And it's very easy then to create this sort of narrative about what this means, being chosen by some magical force or like God or whatever, or being dropped into a cold and uncaring universe where everything is nihilistic and mechanical to the core. There are a lot of reactions to different awakenings that can be extremely troubling for many, many people. And because they are so existentially intense, it is much easier to create a spiritual or religious narrative around this stuff instead of just being cold and mechanical about it. Because oftentimes through cold mechanics, we might feel a bit disconnected from life. And it might, feel like it devalues or dismisses the spiritual sensations.
You already know, Vonta.
But it can also be extremely grounding. I know for me, it
the
was
party don't
very
stop till 6 in the morning.
I'm still in the realm of physics and math because it didn't feel like that for sure. It didn't feel like that. So I hope this is helpful. If you want to share some experiences.
All right. Hope it was helpful. Now we about to go to this Trump shit. 12 minutes. But I gotta give my love and appreciation to the lovely Vonta. You already know what it is. And plus, like, shit, like, we stayed up to like 6 before. Shit. Like, I forgot how many times we did it. Shit, like, I'm used to these midnight shifts. Like, after knocking out a 14-hour day before, or like then doing some 12-hour days straight, it's like, like, I'm used to it. Like, especially on a night shift. And the cool thing about it is, I'm glad it's the morning time over there in the UK because you get to see my work, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially on the afternoon, And plus, it feels good. It feels like a Detroit after dark a little bit because it's after dark. But let's get to this Trump shit now. Let's get to the HHN special report. Quick HHN, late night HHN. Hurricanes hot and naughty. Yep, we on the Trump shit now. Yeah, we get this over with. But this is more crazier than you think.
On May 8th, 2026, U.S. President Trump ordered the Department of War to post 162 declassified UAP files on a public website. war.gov/UFO. No security clearance required. We're talking 120 documents, 28 videos totaling 41 minutes of footage going back to 1947. FBI records, NASA astronaut reports, military encounters from Iraq, Syria, Greece, and the Indo-Pacific. And a statement from the President of the United States that ended with, I'm quoting, "Have fun and enjoy." The Defense Secretary said...
Yeah, so the Trump just put out some... Trump just forced the motherfucker, the motherfuckers to put out some files of some UFOs that go back since 1947. Shit is wild. Aliens, y'all. Get ready for Project Bluebeam.
These files, hidden behind classifications, have long fueled justified speculation, and it's time the American people see it for themselves. Pretty bold, and I actually agree with that sentiment. But here's the thing. When you go through what was actually released and how it was released, some patterns start to emerge, and they're not exactly what the headlines are describing. These are things in those files that nobody is talking about. Let's start with something simple. When governments want to bury information, they release it on Friday afternoons. It's a tactic so well known it has a name.
Yep.
The Friday News Dump. And
the Friday News Dump. They be dumping shit out on Fridays because they know everybody about to get paid. They ain't thinking about no news. They think about getting paid, paying some bills, and getting ready to go hang out with the rest of the money.
Higher UAP file release dropped Friday, May 8th. But the framing is what really got me. This wasn't a solemn congressional briefing. There was no press conference with scientists. The president's official statement was a Truth Social post that included the words, "What the hell is going on?" with a question mark, as though he doesn't know, and the "have fun and enjoy." Now, I'm not saying there's nothing real in here, but when a government releases 80 years of classified UAP files and the official tone is vibes, that's definitely worth flagging. The Pentagon's own summary states this collection covers more than 400 incidents from around the world. The release contained 162 files, so
Where's the other 240?
Right.
Now, they did say more files are coming on a rolling basis. Okay, fine. But there was zero explanation of which incidents were held back or why. No index, no roadmap. They released what they released, named it a transparency initiative, and moved on. And the incidents they chose not to include in round one, we don't know what those are.
Right.
If it is, know what those are. That is the point. Maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe the rest of the files are just still being reviewed, but some of them aren't coming out. And those might be the most interesting ones. In 2013, a squadron of FA-18 jets off Virginia Beach encountered a cluster of objects former Navy Lieutenant Ryan Graves described as a dark gray or black cube inside a clear sphere. One of these objects came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft. 50 feet. Graves said, direct quote, "That's really when we knew we were dealing with something a bit abnormal here." The new files include his witness testimony, written incident reports, a full description of the encounter, but the actual FLIR targeting camera footage from those jets, well, it's not in this release. The government confirmed the encounter happened, described it in detail, released the paperwork, and quietly left the video out. That's a pretty specific omission when the entire premise of the release is, here's the footage. In 2023,
they
a team
live
of
for
federal
real.
law enforcement agents at an undisclosed location in the western United States encountered multiple aerial orbs, and one of them filed
Undisclosed locations, hashtag black sites or military sites, so they could test flying those aircraft. Always remember, these motherfuckers could be possibly the military, mind you. Undisclosed location, black sites or military fields, you know, yo. I'm just saying.
an official Pentagon report, not a civilian Reddit post, an official government document describing an object that looked like, quote, the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, except without the pupil, or maybe an orange storm electrified bowling ball. Federal agents writing official reports don't reach for Lord of the Rings metaphors unless what they're seeing is genuinely outside their frame of reference. The location? Redacted. The agents' identities? Redacted. In a transparency release. I'd love to know what's at that test site in the western US, but apparently we don't get to know that part. On New Year's Day 2024, U.S. military infrared sensors tracked a football-shaped object with 3 fin-like projections, one pointing straight up, 2 angled down at 45 degrees over the Indo-Pacific. It was visible for exactly 9 seconds, and then it was gone. The infrared sensor was still running. The object didn't fade out. It departed at a speed the sensor couldn't track. And the official Pentagon commentary on this footage? None. Not, we think it was X. Not, still under review. Just raw footage dropped into a public database with 0 context. 9 seconds is not a glitch. 9 seconds is a choice about what to release. Because if that object was visible for longer than 9 seconds, and there's no particular reason it wouldn't be, where is the rest of that footage? A 2023 report from Greece includes infrared video of an unidentified object tracked making multiple 90-degree turns at approximately 80 miles per hour. 80 miles per hour isn't fast by aircraft standards, but a 90-degree turn at that speed with no deceleration generates G-forces that would destroy a human pilot and structurally compromise most known unmanned platforms. There's nothing in any military's public inventory that maneuvers this way. The report that accompanied the footage contains no identification, no assessment of what the object might be. It just describes the physics of what happened and leaves it there. which is kind of wild because describing impossible physics and then offering no analysis isn't really transparency. It's just documentation of something that they can't describe. One of the more unexpected files in this release is a photograph from the Apollo 17 mission, December 1972. It shows 3 distinct dots in a triangular formation photographed from the surface of the moon. Now, the government actually acknowledges this photo has been released before, but their own caption on the newly released version reads, "New preliminary U.S. government analysis suggests..."
Those were stage lights. They got caught off a fucking off a camera reflection. Those are fucking stage lights.
The image feature is potentially the result of a physical object in the scene. I mean, that is the government saying in a document they released.
Yeah, but they've been here for a long, long time.
An unidentified triangular formation photographed on the moon might be a physical object. They didn't say what kind of object. They said they're doing a new review of the original film. And then the document just moves on. If there's even a grain of truth to what that reanalysis might find, it would mean the government has been sitting on photographic evidence of something anomalous in lunar orbit since 1972. Nothing officially confirmed, but the timing of choosing to reanalyze it now has led to some questions. In December 1965, astronaut Frank Borman, one of the most decorated figures in American space history, radioed Houston mid-orbit on Gemini 7 with the words, "We have a bogey at 10 o'clock high." Houston's response was essentially, "Say again?" Like they didn't want it acknowledged on the record. Borman repeated it, described hundreds of small particles and one larger unidentified object moving alongside the spacecraft. The newly released files include a handwritten note from a NASA official. At the top, it reads UFO sighting by Borman. Beneath it is a transcript of that same official preparing a press statement where he carefully describes it as particles and an unidentified object.
Gray reptilian Nordic
not
insectoid.
a bogey, just an object.
Yep. And the Arcturians, the Arulians, and the Atlanteans, they hiding. I know y'all still out there, you Atlanteans. Y'all hiding. Don't think I don't know. Y'all hiding. But yeah, baby. Definitely. I remember hearing about those folk running around. The Grays and the Zeta Grays. I heard there's maybe 2 or 3 different sub levels of those motherfuckers. We got Grays, Zeta Grays, and Beta Grays. I think, I'm not sure. But definitely the Zeta Grays. And plus we got the other aliens, which is the tall whites, whatever the fuck. Yep. But yeah, baby, we own it. I love that we can just sit down and do research together, sit here and just talk about everything, baby. Even the phone agrees. You know, even the phone love our chemistry.
Just an object. That semantic shift was deliberate, and the handwritten note proves they knew exactly what language they were walking back. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command submitted a 2024 report to AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, with 1 minute and 39 seconds of infrared footage of an unidentified aerial object aboard a military platform. AARO reviewed it and filed no identification. 1 minute and 39 seconds is a long time for military infrared to track something without identifying it. These systems are designed to classify aircraft, ballistic missiles, incoming threats. They're not running on consumer-grade cameras. And whatever this was, the most advanced aerial surveillance infrastructure on the planet tracked it for nearly 2 minutes and came back with nothing. Here is the one that I want to leave you with. Multiple major news outlets, NBC, CBS, Time Magazine, all led their coverage with some version of the same sentence. The documents don't suggest any wide-ranging government cover-up of extraterrestrial encounters. Now, think about that from a different angle. If you were managing an 80-year-old cover-up and decided to release some files publicly, would you include the ones that confirmed it?
Right.
No, you'd release footage interesting enough to look credible, but just blurry enough, just brief enough to not be conclusive. You'd release raw data with no analysis.
Right.
You'd let the public draw their own conclusions from 9-second infrared clips and redacted test site reports. You drop it on a Friday afternoon and tell everyone to have fun. 170 files, 0 explanations, 0 identifications,
Yep.
0 accountability for what any of it means.
Yep.
The American people can now access the federal government's declassified UAP files, they said. No clearance required. But access to raw footage with no analysis and no follow-up isn't really transparency. It's more like the appearance of transparency.
Yep.
And those are very different things. The more interesting question is, what aren't they showing us? And why does what they did show us seem specifically designed to raise questions without answering a single one? All right, guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks.
Yep. And with that, I hope everybody have a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, cool night. It is 4:39, about to lay down. And as soon as I get up, I'm going to get fresh, run some errands, and then go live. If it fucks with me in the afternoon, then, oh well, we'll try to find a way to go live. But it was good to get this off. Good to do a nice Detroit After Dark. And much love to the goddess Vonta. Nothing to see here. Trust that we are the government. Much love, Vonta. Dedicate all my lives to you till you start back that premiere. Thank you for sending me the In the Groove track. You know I have to play it. I'll play it again when I start my next live when I wake up. And what's weird is this. I need to get this off my chest. The birds was chirping around 3:30 in the morning. Now, usually when the birds start chirping, it's like right before the sun come up, you know, and like for example, like the sun rises at like 6:20. The birds will be chirping maybe like a 30 minutes or maybe like an hour before ahead of time. Now the birds are chirping way too early than usual. And I think something up with time. And I know time doesn't exist. And time is a man-made construct that we motherfucking made it linear and shit. If whether it's time is infinite or it doesn't exist. But the birds, like the birds never chirped at 3-something before. And I find that weird. I know the bats is always flying at all hours of the night, man. But this is the first time hearing birds chirping at around 3-something, and like the sun don't come up to like around 6 or 7. This shit crazy. Cause like I worked the midnight shift outside when I used to work at Hart Plaza. And we outside all night cleaning the park. So like I knew the time frame that the birds started to chirp. And plus, even I used to lay down as a kid, the time was always before when the sun come up, and they always like have that same robotic shit, and always look at my clock and I see, okay, 5-something. I see the sky breaking a little bit, the sun about to come up in the next couple minutes, I guess. So let me lay back down, but yeah, early boy wants that word. Shouts out to Vonta. Much love to you, baby. The early bird trying to catch that word. You already know. But shout out to everybody. Hope everybody have a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, and cool night. This is Spiritual Saturday. And we was talking about spirituality and thermodynamics, and we was talking about Trump, not the usual Trump talk like we used to. Now we talk about UFOs. But the next time we talk about Trump is going to be on the political shit. But what this nigga Trump just did was made Pete Hegseth put out some UFO files and said, have fun. That was his quote. So yeah, so I was like, shit. Dropped it on a Friday. But shouts out to everybody. Much love, Vonta. And you already know I'll catch you in a minute. It's as soon as I wake up, I'm gonna hit you up. You know, you might be busy, you might be running errands, but if you chilling, I'll let you know when I start going live. And we gonna get it. Much love, baby. I don't got no ending for the spiritual Saturday, but much love. Pete Hegseth. Yeah. You already know. Much love, Vonta. Oh yeah. It is 9:43 in the UK. UK in the morning. Grab your biscuits and hot coffee and start the day off right. Listen to some Hurricane. Love you, Vonta. Catch you in a minute, and I'll see everybody else on the next one. I think the next one might be a Detroit. Damn, not a Detroit After Dark, but a HHN. Like if I find some news, it'll be a quick HHN, and then a jam section mix. I might do both. Might be HHN mixed with a jam session. You know, but Vonta, you enjoy the rest of your day. And if you're about to go out there and run errands, you come back safe. Make sure you be safe out there. And I love you. And I will be dreaming of you. I'm out. Detroit After Dark. Oh, yeah. Spiritual Saturday. See you later, Vonta. But lay on down. Oh, yeah. You know, I got to do one more time for you. Oh, yeah. Detroit After Dark.